Hello, my name is Pat Thornburgh, and I'm with UltraComfort of America. Today, we're going to do some training on comfort zone marketing versus motor marketing. And also answer that question, what makes UltraComfort so different from any other manufacturer worldwide? The Flex Deals, Windermere, Lazy Boy, Catnapper, Southern Motion, Stanton, Mega, you get my drift. We're patently different. Kind of a play on words, but we have patented positioning technology, which basically means nothing. Nothing unless you can help your customer understand and feel the extra comfort and wellness benefits achieved through these patented positioning technologies. In front of you have, hopefully, this little trifold on training. On the front of the trifold, you're going to see a little circle. And the little circle says knowledge, confidence, enthusiasm, sales. The more knowledge we get, the more confidence we get, the more confidence we get, the more enthusiasm we get. And the more enthusiasm we get, the more sales. It's a circle though. So we need to continue. More knowledge, more confidence, more enthusiasm, more sales. More knowledge, more confidence, more enthusiasm, more sales. Today, we're going to do just that. We're going to learn a little bit more about comfort zone marketing. So if you take out your phone and we open it up, what you're going to see is the inside. And you're going to look at our remotes that go with each one of our chairs, but you're going to see a 1 comfort zone, 2 comfort zone, 3 comfort zone, 4, and 5 comfort zone. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Well, in 1977 is when I started my retail career. And at that time, there were only manual recliners. Of course, my favorite manual recliner to sell was Lazy Boy. That ratcheted system could rock back. You didn't fall forward on it. Was and still is today probably one of the best manual mechanisms out there. But in the early 80s, a couple of companies decided to add a motor to a 3-position recliner. I think it was either Lazy Boy or Catnapper or both. And it was something new. Trouble with it is they had problems with it. And so they kind of dropped it for a little bit and they still had motors to use and they brought them back. And of course, the remote, due to more circuit boards and things, got better. So power recliners became part of our furniture industry. Now, the customer thought a power recliner having a motor in it would give them some problems. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we put 2 motors in a recliner. And now we have a motor that has an independent back. Great benefits. Infinite amount of comfort positions, 2 motors. So in the customer's mind, though, 1 motor meant problems and extra money. 2 motors meant more problems and extra money. So it got to that point there where you were showing a customer recliners and they had this hesitation, kind of like a buyer's remorse, but I always call it, it's kind of like an excuse to lose. And what they were looking at was there was a certain price for the manual recliner, which was a great price. I could add a motor to it and get some ease of operation, but I get problems. If I add 2 motors to it, I'm going to add more problems. So in my mind, I thought, okay, I don't really want to buy that expensive set. So I'm going to tell the salesperson I have to think about it. And what they're thinking about is basically the cost versus what they're getting. And what they're getting is manual, everything's going to work for a long time. A motor, I might have some problems. I might have to pay for it. 2 motors, I'm going to really have to pay for it. And I'm going to have problems. So I called that the excuses to lose. And as a salesperson, we would agree with the customer and say, you're probably right. That manual recliner is going to do everything that you need right now. And you get your sale. You just didn't get the sale that maybe that customer needed. Then along comes power headrest. Oh, there's another 3rd motor. Power lumbar. And we're calling them all sorts of things. Cheers Manoir, we get P2, P3s. So everybody's using this jargon, but basically the customer is looking at more motors, more problems. And as a salesperson, we try to help them understand by asking the question, how did you get to the store today? Did you drive? Did your car have roll-up windows or did it have power windows? Are you having troubles with your power windows? And of course, that kind of eased it. So we sell a lot of power recliners with power headrest. Well, 2018, UltraComfort decides to develop a new mechanism with new benefits. And the mechanism is called the Eclipse. So the Eclipse is a patented mechanism with another motor in it. So all of a sudden, UltraComfort has a 5-motor chair. Think about that. We got 5 motors. But our marketing department, headed up by Sarah Leiden, thought about this and came up with a great marketing strategy. So instead of marketing motors, UltraComfort markets comfort zones. Now think about this. A person that's buying a chair, a recliner, is buying comfort. They're not buying motors, they're buying comfort. And if we can take the motor situation and make it into a single motor, which we call a 1 comfort zone, an independent back comes out and becomes a 2 comfort zone. A 3 comfort zone is going to have a power headrest. 4 comfort zones is going to have a power lumbar, but it's a comfort zone. And a 5 comfort zone, that's going to be the ultimate. And that's going to be our Eclipse equipped chairs. But now think about what we've just done. Customers before and currently are thinking, I'm buying my recliner, it's got motors in it, and it's going to give me some troubles. Not only going to give me some troubles, it's going to cost me more. I really don't know what I'm getting, but I know it's going to cost me more, and it's going to give me more problems. But more should be better. More pixels in the TV, more pixels in our phones, on our cameras, that's better. More coverage for our phone, that's better. More roses at date night, that's really good. More motors is not so good. They're thinking not so good. More comfort zones. The reason they're buying, their emotional reason for buying is for comfort. 1 comfort zone, 2 comfort zone. I'm getting more comfort. I'm not worried. In the back of my mind, I'm not thinking about problems. I'm thinking about comfort. 4 comfort zones. I'm thinking comfort. I'm not thinking 4 times the problems, 4 times the cost. And if I can get to 5 comfort zones, we're talking about the ultimate chair that is going to satisfy all their needs when it comes to the emotional purchase of buying a recliner. So let's think about that. Let's kind of get away from motor marketing and let's get into what the customer is really looking for is comfort. And each chair is going to have different comfort zones, 1 through 5. So here's what I'm asking you. We know that definition of insanity is doing things the same way over and over again and expecting different results, which goes along with your presentation. What I want you to do is go out on your floor, starting today, and start looking at, to start a new habit, just go around and look at your motion furniture. You look at a recliner. Let's say it's just a power 3-position recliner. That's a 1 comfort zone, 1 comfort zone. You walk over to a Cheers Manoir sofa, and it might be a P3. That is a 3 comfort zone. And we might have a independent back recliner, which is a 2 comfort, but let's get it into our mind. 1 comfort zone, 2 comfort zone. Oh, that's a 3 comfort zone. And now when you start talking to a customer about the product you're selling currently right now, instead of talking about a motor this, let's talk about the comfort zone on this chair and how it helps create that comfort. The more comfort zones, the better. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. More motors, not so good. So let's start that. Sound great? I hope so. Now let's get on to that question. So what makes UltraComfort products so different from other manufacturers? So let's look at some of their patents. We have a chair here. This is one of our 5 comfort zone chairs. It's the UC 799. And I will demonstrate as much as I can to show you the differences between our products and any other product manufactured in the United States. So let's just start with the simple part. In a 3-position recliner, what we see is that the footrest rises up. And as the footrest comes all the way up in the mechanism, then the 3-position back breaks loose. So that's a 1 comfort zone chair. It's pretty simple. But now if we take that 1 comfort zone chair and make it a 2 comfort zone chair, we now have an independent back. And what happens on many independent back chairs is that as you put the back back, there is a gap forming between the back and the seat cushion. And there's even some companies, Windermere, for example, that produces looks like a lumbar pillow, but actually what it is, it's a pillow to fill in the gap because they know the gap doesn't help in lower back support. So we look at what our chairs do. The first difference is the patent is we have a 4-way motion patented seat. So if you've noticed, as we went from the footrest coming up, the seat cushion goes back and it helps filling in the gap. But as we get back, all of a sudden, I want you to watch this, the seat box lifts up. I'm going to show you again. The seat box lifts up. So number 1, in all of our chairs that have an independent back and the patented positioning technology in our motion seat, number 1, there's no gap. But number 2, the seat box lifted up. Now, what does that mean? Well, what I want you to look at is this next photograph or slide. I want you to look at the inside of that slide, right down the middle, and you're going to see UltraComfort patented positioning technology, which is our 4-way comfort seat, may help in alleviating many back issues by relaxing tight muscles in the lower back. I'm going to show you a bigger picture of this lower back. So here's what goes on. If you look at this lower back, you're going to see that we have 2 muscles on each side of the lower back. We're talking about the front. These muscles are connected to the front of our lower vertebrae, starting in the T12 and going down to the L4 vertebrae. There's 5 little, and then it comes down and it connects to your lower hip area. So if you look at that, imagine what happens. If this muscle tightens left, my left leg can go up. This muscle tightens, my right leg can go up. If I want to sit, I have to take those muscles and shorten them up. So I'm going to shorten them up. So now my muscles are contracted a little bit, and now I'm going to sit down in a chair. Make sense? How many people realize what happens when you get out of any recliner or chair that you're sitting in? These muscles here have tightened. So when I start my lift up out of that chair, I'm like this, and I start walking like this. Pretty soon I can straighten my back out. So we know that as we sit in a normal reclining chair or chair, that these muscles, which are called the psoas muscles, they tighten up. And if they tighten up, they can lock up and they kind of form little spasms. So it's like if I'm carrying a bag of groceries in my arm here, and this arm is similar to This is where it attaches on my lower vertebrae, and this is my lower body. If I hold my arm like this and those muscles tighten up, by the time I get to the car with my groceries and I put my groceries down, my arm's stuck. And I've got to release it like this to get it feeling better. So that's what's happening in here. Now, the result of this comes from, if you're still looking at that back page, is that from 2019 on up to today, we've gone through our COVID part. And what's happened is we've gone from people that were sitting in chairs, recliners, 6.5 hours a day, to up to 10 and 12 hours a day in your home, and even longer if you apply that to work. So we are continually seen to be sitting in our chairs. And as it turns out, doctors were getting lots of complaints. And the results of the complaints to the doctors were they did a little research. And the research did a couple things. Number one was, if you're going to sit for long periods of time, don't sit. And that's kind of like a few years ago, and I'm still a little heavy here. A few years ago, I needed to go on a diet. I can't. So I went to my doctor and I wanted the easy way out. I didn't want to exercise. What I wanted was a pill that they could give me and I would lose weight. So he gave me a prescription, and the prescription read, stop eating. Well, I didn't stop eating. So the same thing comes on with these doctors. Stop sitting. Well, we know we have to sit. So they did come up with something. They said, let's take a towel, roll it up. I put a couple rubber bands on the end of it. And what you want to do is you want to put this under your bottom. Not in your lumbar, under your bottom. And if I put that under my bottom, what it's doing basically, get back to this arm that looks like I'm sitting. If I push up, it lengthens out that muscle. Instead of tight, it lengthens it out and relaxes that muscle. Well, guess what? Our chair is doing exactly that. There's the chair without it. Put this in under my bottom. But if you notice, as I lift it up, it's doing the same thing as this roll-up is doing. So consequently, if you sit in our chairs, we're actually relaxing those lower back muscles. They don't tighten up, so you can sit for a long time. People have always said that about our product. It's so comfortable to sit in. It's comfortable because we're not tightening up those muscles that connect your upper body to your lower body. These muscles, the walking muscles, the running muscles, the exercising muscles, they tighten up. So as you can see, our patented positioning technology, our four-way motion seat, is so much different than any other manufacturer in the world. So not only is it helping in comfort, we're talking about helping lower back. Make sense? Good. So the next thing we have is this chair can go into zero gravity position. So I want to show you that. And of course, if you open up I'll get up here again. Under the page, it shows zero gravity positioning, its wellness benefits, and then also at the bottom of the page is going to be the Eclipse technology. So if we look at that page, I know these things. Number one is zero gravity positioning gives me 3 tremendous benefits. Number one, when we get to zero gravity positioning, our muscles are going to relax, and they're going to relax as much as they can on Earth. It's zero gravity positioning, but we're going to relax all of our muscles. If I'm relaxing all my muscles, that means that I'm relaxing the paraspinal muscles that go up on both sides of my vertebrae. And what happens is many times, whether I'm stepping off of a sidewalk, or I crunch my back, you get a spasm that's formed with the muscle fibers, and it really hurts. Or maybe I'm out in the garden, and I love to garden, I love to rose, all those things. But when I'm down on my knees, when it's time to get up, my back is spasmed again. So what would it mean if you could have these instances and issues, but stop, walk into the house and go into a zero gravity positioning chair, and we relax those muscles until the spasms are gone. And in fact, over time, we might relax those muscles enough that we might even align your back better than it is. So I know that zero gravity position can help eliminate and alleviate many back issues. I also know that we have great circulation when we're in zero gravity. If I'm standing up, blood is down at my feet. Gravity is always going to pull down. If I'm sitting in the chair, gravity is always going to pull my blood down to my feet and ankles. So we end up getting swollen ankles, swollen feet. We're tired, we're cranky, we're irritable. And trust me, if we're sitting in a chair 10 hours a day, or if we're standing at a standing desk for 10 hours a day, it is not good for your body. But zero gravity positioning is going to put your body and your feet kind of equal to where your heart is. And consequently, your heart, which is also relaxing, will come to its resting state in about 4 minutes. Because I don't need a whole bunch of pressure, blood pressure, to get the blood from my feet up to my heart when I'm in a zero gravity position. So I basically have perfect circulation. Perfect circulation, my heart muscle doesn't have to pump as hard. Perfect situation. Now, if I take that circulation benefit, combine that with all of my muscles relaxing benefit, one of the third tremendous benefits is sleep. You're going to get the best night's sleep in a zero gravity positioning chair. Remember that. Now, from zero gravity positioning, and of course on my patented remote, the next position you can get to on our chairs is called Trendelenburg positioning. Now, Trendelenburg positioning is taking the back of the head, back of the chair, and I'm going to lower it to a position where my feet end up being a little bit above my heart. And if my feet are a little bit above my heart, then my heart pumping is going to pump actually more blood, and I'm going to get rid of more fluids from my lower ankles and legs. So Trendelenburg position came from Dr. Trendelenburg. People ask that, what's Trendelenburg position? I want you to imagine this. Now, this might not be a true story, but what I want you to picture is German doctor, Dr. Trendelenburg, back in the 1880s. He's overlooking his operating table. He is operating on the stomach of somebody, and all of a sudden it just gets filled with blood because it's just sitting there. So he looks over at the nurse and says, "Hey, nurse, can you go outside and pick up a couple of bricks?" So the nurse goes outside, picks up a couple of bricks. The nurse comes back in. He says, "I'm going to lift up the end of the table, and would you slip those bricks underneath the end of the table?" So the nurse flips them under the end of the table, and all of a sudden the blood kind of moves forward into the chest cavity, and now Dr. Trendelenburg can finish his operation. I don't know if it happened that way, but that's what I kind of imagine. So that's where Trendelenburg positioning came from. And of course, our chair can do Trendelenburg positioning. So next, we're going to go on to the features and benefits of our third patented positioning technology, which is the Eclipse technology. So I'm going to put the chair back up to a sit position. I want you to notice a couple of things while we're just doing this. We're one of the few manufacturers in the world that has a chair that can sit at a 90 degree. The back of the chair to the seat cushion is 90 degrees. Now, for me, that feels very uncomfortable. But there are people that have asked for, do you have a chair that has a 90-degree back? Because they need that for their support and the way that their body is. Now, they're not going to come into the store and ask you for that because they don't know that. This is sometimes you need to show the customer, as if we're presenting this chair right now to a customer, that this chair actually goes to a 90-degree position. And most chairs start at about a 95 degree. So you can help them see that. So there's the first thing you're going to do. But that's a generating interest type product or talk. But what we need to do is we need to ask questions to generate interest. And a lot of people don't know what they are missing when they come into a store, when they're just looking. Maybe they're just looking for a recliner to watch TV. But here's what I know. 50% of Americans have back issues. 50%. Over a lifetime, 80% of Americans have back issues. About 50% of people have circulation problems. And about 50% of Americans have sleep issues. So I know those things. I also know I have a chair here and a company here that can help anybody with those concerns, but we never let them know that we have this product. So here's my suggestion. You have a customer in the store and you're walking them around. Let's just ask a few questions. First question, I know that people have back issues. So I'll say, hey, do you happen to have any back issues? As we're walking, we've already said our names and we know each other. Do you happen to have any back issues? The only reason I'm asking you that is because about 50% of Americans have back issues, and we actually have chairs in our store that can help alleviate many back issues and backaches. Let me ask you another question. Are you up on your feet all day long? Maybe you're gonna have a stand-up desk, or maybe you have to sit all day long. You know that sitting and standing all day long creates a lot of fluids in your lower legs, pain, cranky when you get home. We actually have chairs that can help alleviate that swelling of ankles and legs. One more question. Are you the type of person that wakes up in the middle of the night and you think about all the dumb things you did the day before and all the dumb things are going to happen? You start tossing and turning and you can't sleep. And of course, if you're tossing and turning, your spouse can't sleep. So both of you get a terrible night's sleep. Does that happen to you? Let me show you something. We have a chair that can help alleviate all those problems. And we're at the chair right now. So why don't you sit down? Let me show you. First off, look at the remote. It's a special remote. You can see that has a lot of buttons on it, but the buttons mean that we can actually get this chair to basically do all the support and wellness benefits that you might need. So the first thing I want you to do is I'd like you to take the TV button and let's hold it down. Now, while you're holding it down, you want to say to the customer, you know, this is like any other 3-position recliner you've been trying out. The footrest comes up. But at this point right now, I want you to feel the seat box lifts up. Now, hand me the remote. So you take the remote, take the footrest down and say, I can take that out. It's going to be like any other recliner. Or I can put it back in again. You know what this is doing? It turns out that as we sit in chairs, I'm talking to the customer, as we sit in chairs, the longer we sit, we have a muscle that connects to the lower vertebrae in the front and the inside of your legs. And as we sit, this muscle tightens up and we sit, and pretty soon it becomes stiff and it actually causes some pain. And I know that when I get out of that chair, maybe you have it home, that I kind of walk like this because these muscles have tightened up. But if I can take these muscles and lift up the bottom, I stretch that muscle back out again. So while I'm sitting in a position that is more comfortable and your lower back doesn't tighten up. That's a patent from this company. So that seat box lifting up is going to help you sit longer. Does it make sense? Next, what I like to show you is you can take that TV position, and what I'd like you to do is to put the back a little bit. And you get that back to where you think, okay, this is a great position for TV. What I'd like you to do is to hold down the memory button, which is right in the middle. And when I hold that down, pretty soon in about 4 seconds, the lights start flashing. And all I want you to do is push on the TV button. So now you've made that TV your special TV position. So no matter where you are, if you want to watch your TV in that position, you just hold down the TV button, it goes back to that position. Now here's the next thing I'd like to show you, is that this chair is equipped with another patent that's called an eclipse mechanism. You'll see that there's a little arrow down at the bottom. And if you hold your finger over the right side of the arrow, I want you to close your eyes and hold that arrow down. And as this arrow is held down, the entire chair, which was very comfortable, tilts up, and you're going to take the weight from your legs, and you will feel weight, and we're going to transfer that weight to your chest area. It's really a weird feeling. But if you take the opposite side of the arrow and you bring it down, you're going to find a place which feels like an equilibrium. We've spread out the forces, and it feels like you're floating literally on water. It's one of the most comfortable positions that you could ever be in. But maybe you didn't notice. Comfortable, but we also raised the footrest up another 8 inches. So what does that mean? Well, if down below, especially when I was showing zero gravity in Trendelenburg, my feet were about at 20 inches. So they've gone up 28 inches, which means I'm getting more fluids from my lower legs up to my heart area so they can be cleaned out through my kidneys, more fluids. But at the same time, the back is at a height that it doesn't pound my head. So I can actually sit in this position, and we actually have rejuvenate, where it actually is a single button that gets you in this position where you can watch TV and yet have the most efficient circulation throughout your body and cleansing all those fluids that built up during the day. And remember, this has a power headrest. So if I have trifocals like I do, I can at this point go forward, which brings my head down so I can see TV through my upper glasses, and then I can read through my lower. This chair also has power lumbar. And let me tell you, there's nothing like going into either zero gravity position or Trendelenburg position and then pushing the lumbar and feel the results of that. So that's our eclipse mechanism. Now today, what we've talked about, of course, is comfort zones. We have to get in on that comfort zone. But then we talked about why we are different. The patented positioning technology that makes a difference. We have a 4-way motion seat attached to a independent back. And when you put those two together, we have the results of helping you sit longer, helping you attain a more advanced zero gravity position and Trendelenburg position. And then we added to that the eclipse technology, which takes us to another dimension of comfort, unattainable by any other manufacturer, and helping to get the feet 8 inches higher above your heart than they are in a normal chair. Make sense? Okay, so let's see what else we have here. I'm going to show you a couple of things before we're done. Number one is this chair comes equipped with, since it has 5 motors, it comes equipped with a lithium-ion battery. Now, the lithium-ion battery comes off. And the reason I'm showing that it comes off is that when you get this chair, you put the lithium-ion battery about 3/4 of the way, and it goes up, but you have to snap it in. If you don't snap it in, it doesn't charge itself up. Now, we have 5 motors in this chair. And of course, it needs a strong battery. This lithium-ion battery is guaranteed to give you at least 1 up and 1 down, 1 down, 1 up, guaranteed to get you out of the chair. Well, as you can see, I have this chair. And I know this chair, when I unplug it, I can go from my eclipse, which is called the rejuvenate position, where all the motors are back, to lift position once, twice, 8 times. And at 8 times, the battery got a little slow. So we're going to guarantee it for 1 time, but I know my chair can go up and down at least 8 times with that lithium-ion battery. Also, in the back of the chair is a control box, and the black control box has a USB port on the right-hand lower side. So if you have your phone charger, your iPhone phone charger, this one is a 6-foot one. You can plug it into the back and you can have access to charging your phone at any time you need it. Now, before we end, I just want to show you something that's, I think, is one of those things that might help you help a customer get what they truly need. Believe it or not, you can see over here we have a TV tray. And I know that if I put this TV tray in front of me and I had some soup, that if I took this soup, by the time I get it up to my mouth, I'm pretty much covered in soup. So in order to eat that soup or something, spaghetti, I have to sit up like this, which is good, TV tray, but my back hurts. I have no support. So every once in a while I have to sit back. I'm hungry, so I don't want to do this, but I might, but watch what happens. Now remember this, we're going to have breakfast, going to have some sort of a morning snack. We're going to have lunch. We're going to have an afternoon snack. We're going to have happy hour, and we're going to have dinner, and then we're going to have a snack before we go to bed. That's 7 times. So I said, we had a sit button. Let's do this. What if I take this chair and I start rising in it? Give me a little boost. I rise up. What I want you to look at as I'm doing this is, guess what I can do? I can take the back and I can move it any way that I want to. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is a couple of years ago, we took this away and people wanted it. So we are back that we have an adjustable back as it goes up. But getting back, I'm going to take this chair and I'm going to rise up. Well, you can kind of see what's happening, can't you? I'm actually getting closer to my soup at this time. And now I can eat my soup. But guess what? I have support on my back. And if it isn't quite reaching, I can move it forward. I can move it backward. So I can support my back while eating. It's a great position. And guess what I can do? We have a programmable remote. So I can hold the remote button down for the 4 seconds. And when it starts flashing, I push the sit button. Now this sit button is good for 7 times a day. For that breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, happy hour, dinner, and then a snack before you go to bed. Down, but now it's time to eat. I can just push it right up. It's programmed in. Here's my thing. That's UltraComfort. Thanks for watching me today, and you have a great one.